Almost every working American keeps an eye on the future, planning for retirement and saving their money for when that day comes. However, a piece of planning for the future that often gets overlooked is estate planning. According to Caring.com, 2 out of 3 Americans don't have a will or any other type of estate planning document. Joining me now is Robyn Sechler, an estate planning expert, and she's going to share some insight on that. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me today.
Of course. And for those of us who don't really know or ever heard of estate planning, can you just briefly explain what that is?
Yeah, for sure. So, estate planning is really the process of taking all the important things in your life and passing them on to the important people in your life. And we generally think about this in terms of maybe finances or homes or grandma's piano that might be important to you. But this day and age, with a lot of our lives being spent online, it's also important to consider passing on your online or your digital assets. The other little piece of this that often gets left out is probably one of the most important pieces, and that's planning for your minor children in the case of your absence. So that is another thing that you can do whenever you're considering estate planning and making sure that everybody really is well taken care of the way you would want them to be.
And this is a timely topic for this area because Caring.com also shows that New York is one of the worst states to die without a will. Now, tell me why that is.
Yes. So together with Caring, we conducted a survey where we found that, many people really aren't aware of the different nuances that occur from state to state. And so we looked at, guardianship and probate, which is how long it takes for your assets to end up in the hands of the person that you want them to go to. And we really tried to understand from state to state which states were going to be the easiest with that process. So a couple things we found in New York. One is that New York has one of the slowest and most complex probate processes. It typically takes somewhere around 7 to 9 months for those assets to go through the court system and end up in the hands of whoever the beneficiary, the person that they're meant to go to. We also found that New York has an estate tax, which means that an estate of a certain size will get taxed, meaning the beneficiary will have to pay a certain amount of money to in order to be able to receive those assets.
So when should we get started and where do we go to start the planning?
Yeah, when you think about any major life change that occurs, so getting married, getting divorced, having a children, or adopting a child, even getting pets, because our pets are often treated much like our children are. And things like buying a home or other large assets, retiring, owning a business, or if there happens to be a family illness or a loss in the family, these are all big moments that really require an estate plan because any of those life changes are going to potentially change how you want things to be passed on and handled.
Definitely some great information that we can use. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. And you asked about getting started. The easiest way to get started is really to identify your goals. What are the things that are important that you want to pass on? Who should they go to? Write those goals down and then really begin by creating either your will or your trust so that you can make sure all of the things happen exactly the way that you want them to.
All right, Robyn, I appreciate that. That is some really great advice and some really good tools that we can use. Thank you.